You want to be loved, yet you push it away. And there's a hidden reason why. The way you were loved as a child shapes all of your current relationships. And the key is held in your attachment style. In today's video, I'm going to take you through a 5-step process so you can understand how to stop your attachment style destroying your relationship. And don't play hard to get, hit that subscribe, I got you. First of all, your attachment style is not your fault. It has been shaped by all of your childhood experiences, and it doesn't have to define or destroy your future. Awareness is always the first step towards changing. I remember the first time I realized I had a massive avoidant attachment style. I had an anxiety attachment style too. And when I linked the behaviors to where they had come from, how they were showing up in my present ability to connect with others, it completely changed how I was able to be present with someone else. It got rid of all of that anxiety, it got rid of all of the stress, all of the overthinking. And I think in today's world, so many people get bad advice on social media, and it's so easy to blame the other person rather than actually doing the work in and looking into why we are the way we are. Number one, you've got to identify your attachment style. Secure attachment means you feel comfortable with closeness, independence. When your partner does something that's particularly triggering, you don't react, you don't get triggered, calm, you're collected. You can see multiple perspectives, different views, and you're able to sit in a discussion without it becoming a heated argument. Anxious attachment, you feel comfortable, you want closeness, and fear abandonment at the same time. This can start playing up with control mechanisms, going through your partner's phone, overthinking, overanalyzing, and questioning every single move. An avoidant, you feel uncomfortable with deep emotional intimacy. As I said earlier, I had this attachment style, and I remember a girl at university that I'd wanted to go out with for many, many years. And when we finally got to that stage, and I remember she put her hand on me in the morning, freaked out, and that was all me. But once I understood that attachment style and learned further about it, then it just changed everything. Just a heads up, if you comment below, if you want a more detailed video of where attachment styles come from, let me know and I can do that video. Comment the word deep and I'll do that video for you. Fearful avoidant, you want connection, but fear being hurt. Notice a constant paradox. So you're constantly fighting with yourself within your actions. You want to be held, but at the same time, you don't want to give yourself over to them because you don't want to be too vulnerable. You've got issues with expressing truly how you feel because you're worried if you do that, then you won't be safe, but yet you want the connection. It's a difficult one, that one for sure. Number two, you've got to understand how your attachment style affects your relationships now. For example, do you overthink text messages? Push people away or seek constant validation? Because attachment styles depend on each context individually. You might have a varying degree of different attachment styles according to the context or the behavior that you're dealing with. They will turn up in your most vulnerable moments, all intimacy, emotional security, and when you least want it the most, when you're trying your best to be a good person, bang, it will come up. 3, we've got to develop steps to create a secure attachment, which always comes down to, again, self-regulation. In order for us to calm the brain, we need to be able to self-regulate it in that moment. One of the hardest things to do is to, when you are triggered, to notice that you have been triggered and to stop yourself in that moment. And there are techniques, for example, like holding a band and pinging yourself to bring yourself to a different awareness, breathing techniques, increasing your awareness, and then by seeing it and practicing it and being part of a support training program, so you are building more knowledge around it, you'll start to recognize it more. And one of the things that we do with our clients is get them to record conflict with their partner so that they can get feedback of that. With that feedback, you can start to notice, okay, we're stuck in a pattern there. Now, if you're trying to do this on your own, it's difficult because you've created that pattern for so long, that pattern becomes very familiar and that becomes the norm. And to look outside of that pattern is quite difficult to do on your own because you can't see a problem from the same level. Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking. So if two people are in the same level of thinking, they need someone externally look at a different angle so they can give feedback to assess how they can change that communication. Biggest part of a secure attachment style is being able to be honest and open with your partner without it breaching safety. Getting both of you to a stage where you can be honest, vulnerable, and knowing that that's not going to damage the relationship. Some of the things I would suggest there is very specific language framing so that you're not blaming each other. It's very normal to build up negative patterns over a period of time and then have all of this resentment and then take it out on the other person, right? Which is very common. You have to be able to come to a safe space, willing to take ownership over both sides of that, not just your part, both sides of it, so you're not playing table tennis with the problem, and then start opening up very specific frameworks which allows your partner to be heard, the sender and the receiver. The sender is gonna say what they wanna say, and the receiver is going to receive it without that person interrupting. Because most people don't really listen, they're just listening to the sound of their voice or they're waiting to speak. For breaking the cycle, you are never stuck in one attachment style forever. And healing these attachments is something that is very possible if you're willing to do the work. And what's exciting is what I actually take our clients through is that you don't have to have both parties work at the same time on this. A lot of people think they have to go to therapy together, whereas what I personally prefer is that just one person works on it, because it's like dancing. If one person knows the steps really well, what happens to the other person? They can be led by the other person. And so that in a relationship, there's always one party that doesn't want to do the work as much as one. And so it just reduces the barrier. Actually, both parties don't need to go to a therapeutic process in order to heal that. Remember, your attachment style is just a guide. It's pointing you to behaviors that can be healed, restored, and fixed for the future. It's not a life sentence. Because you're not alone. Hit that subscribe. I got you.